told now to sit on the front stoop. Instead, we drink our tea inside, in the dark railroad apartment enshrouded in lace. Who? Oh, this is fictional. Yeah.
It always is, my friend. Just keep going.
There are few windows, and so it is always dark. We can pretend this way that it is always winter, or else always raining. We are comforted, repeating to ourselves that we have missed nothing, that not another day of our young, waning years has not been squandered. We feel accepted by the day, pardoned by its passivity. Inside our dim box we are grateful, we feel relief, not knowing from what we have been saved, suspecting, indeed, that whatever it has not saved us, but harmed us, or at least marked us irrevocably. I keep thinking about distraction. I am distracted, endlessly distracted. I am beginning to conceive of my body as an empty thing, the chemistry of elevation, an increasingly complex formula that grows longer and longer in figure and in number, and further from answer, from definition. Because my body is such an empty thing, I look to put things in it. I'm drawn to what destroys even as it creates. I'm drawn to hurtful men, I'm drawn to drugs, I'm drawn to a life path that hollows out the body but finds in its stead something greater, something defiant. I am a fervent loyalist to the quick fix. Right now it is all I know, and though I know that this is wrong, I do not wish to wake up to what I know. I don't know that I can deal with the ramifications. A plan is a dream until the sun rises on that day and goes down again and again after the dream is surrendered to a trifle and in a second. And then follows the loss of hope, the dearth of faith. Something essential is lacking, and we have grown complacent enough to champion it, to fill our veins with the beautiful toxins, to surrender ourselves, to forget the meaning of culpability. The heavy fog of fried chicken collects on Putnam Avenue. The leaves dropped quickly this year and left the trees bare, burnt-looking gray on top of the white-gray skies. On our street, the trees live within small, tidy little squares. The city makes the trees feel rushed, and they pass up the spectrum of color unleashed. Allowed, uncircumcised trees, that doesn't make sense, and pass quickly from green to brown to yellow, and the yellow leaves drift down toward the ground even as we watch. I hate fall. My roommate stares wrathfully up at the turning leaves, tugs violently at her cigarette. It's just death, fucking death, that's all it is. Do you know who that is?
It's a prelude to death.
Fuck yeah.
The birds form a cacophony in the trees. The ice cream truck's infernal jingling has finally stopped hunting the neighborhood. People move even quicker now, burrowing their chins into their collars, steering their children ahead of them with upright, efficient elbows. Candy canes and Christmas calendars adorn the stores. The city trains for its season. Who are you? New York is asking. I don't know if this is separate. Each night had curtains that drew close at the end of the day's performance. Strange that seeing the curtains close should be so painful, when one knew objectively that the morrow would bring the same play and an opening once more of the curtains. And besides, how ridiculous to mourn the end of the show when you arrived late and grudgingly, with a feeling of faint and inarticulate dread. The night becomes a thicker thing, block-like, something you might take a grate or two. 4:30 in the morning. Some people are beginning their days. Some people are ending them. In here, that time doesn't apply. I float unmoored in insufficient lighting. In 3 hours, the sun will come up, and I imagine it will be gray, as New York in November is wont to be. What is this monologue's place in the world? Not even in the world, in this word. It is an ephemeral thing, a flutter of eyelashes, a footprint that no one sees. Who am I? My cell phone isn't speaking. What is this thing that I write? How do I write my days? Without intention, we are lost. Without a path, without a point to direct ourselves to, we go nowhere. Pace back and forth, chew our fingernail beds bloody, make the same delusional circles. This apartment is good for time-wrinkles. It is dim and swathed with lace. The weather outside is always the same. It meets the room slowly, a white breed of gray. The sunshine, when present, can only get elbow deep. Here we dangle, my friends and I, holding our fists to our eyes, gasping for easy tonics. We all thought by now we might be more. We suffer for lack of faith. We do not know how. We question our ability to navigate. I can't remember ever being a child in the sense that you were supposed to have been a child, a time of open and unassuming wonder. No, I only remembered this painful awareness of things, this crushing and shadow-chased reality I see girding the grimy bottoms of things, so that was a lot. I grow more and more aware of my mind. It's dipping in the direction of good or else bad, this binary way we are taught to look at the world, black and white, good versus evil. What a mess of a way to calibrate things. It still takes effort, conscious intervention sometimes, to yank my trained brain back, the real, the round, and nuanced truth. I feel it swinging so often, a wrecking ball towards the dark end of the world. Strangers and even loved ones take on a certain vaguely ominous specter. The objects around me in the world feel sinister, pointing towards one sad or cruel or unjust thing or another. But I must step back and breathe in deeply, perhaps close my eyes, and remind myself that each thing I see is a ball I can hold in my hand and turn over, with no rough spots or edges, geometrical lines meeting to form corners. There is simply this thing. On the other side, it is made of the same thing, but it looks different. There are all sorts of stains and colors fading in on one another, meeting to form the next. I must remind myself to turn the ball over, to keep turning it over, to stop staring so stubbornly at the same terrible spot. How long do I keep pushing old seeds into soil and watch them fail each year to sprout, and still to keep inserting the same tired seeds? At some point, a lesson must be learned, and not just learned, but caught and overturned. One must cast the unfruitful seeds away and go seek new ones. I believe that if I were to read the writing of one I did not know, this is okay, never mind. The masturbations of life dishearten me. Should I stop? This is really long.
No, keep going.
I do not come equipped with an inspirational soundtrack.
Fuck yeah.
Nor an instant photo montage effect through time accompanied by music. There will be no surging underdog beats all endings. The Neil Strausses of the world will write for the New York Times and be celebrated. John Kennedy O'Toole would have killed himself many years before upon repeated rejection. That doesn't make sense. I run toward no finish line. I can't even find the track. Not popular in New York. Too candid, too lost and ready to say so. I have this opportunity to invent a persona. One man encourages me to invent many personas, use them. Who am I tomorrow? What are you, New York? Is there a place for me within your giant heaving belly? Am I one more to be crushed between your metal jaws, one more who didn't make it? New York demands you prove yourself. New York is a bitch with iron standards. New York has a hauteur and a hustle, an unassailable arrogance and breadth. There's no limit to what you can be, so all of what you can't be is on you, up against you, bearing down on your shoulders, treading on your heels. It loves its capitalist, carnivorous code. It is voracious. It has hunger, a savage and disembodied drive. Who are you, New York is asking. My roommate stands in front of the mirror with her head cocked, half haughty, half defiant, confronting her reflection. Her legs form a wide V, their tight, straight-legged jeans tapering to busted red cowboy boots with gaping holes in the heels. I do look older, though, don't I? In the face, she asks. She stands close to me and squints into my face. You don't look older, I say. She sighs loudly and turns back to the mirror. She turns back and forth. She holds a hand to her stomach. The sun filters through the lace curtains of the kitchen window with a wan slant. She shakes her head and turns away, still holding her stomach as if it hurts. She plops down on the sofa beside me and takes out a cigarette. She smokes jerkily, pulling her hand away from her mouth with a tight, capped flourish. My other roommate, William, usually gets up at 10 to go about his day. First the methadone clinic, and then his alternative cancer treatment, then to the job he just landed at the bead shop near Union Square. They're testing him out for 2 weeks. He asks if I think it was bad he wore the gray vest with all the holes. I tell him they work with his aesthetic. William is tall and beautiful and has worked before as a model. He has a sharp, faintly bird-like face with large, devouring, lash-drenched eyes. his copper hair cast